What's up, Clemson fans? It's time to roar. This is Around the Bases. I am your host, Big Al, and we are talking anything and everything that is Clemson baseball. With me, as always, is my co-host, Corey Welch. We're going to dive right in here to the first segment, and what we're going to do is we're going to give you a recap of the week that was Clemson baseball. And they started out with Georgia Southern midweek game and then had a weekend series away with Boston College. Corey, it went really well for the Tigers. They actually swept all of those games, beat Georgia Southern 6-4 to start out. To start out on the midweek, which is always a good thing. Those midweeks can be kind of tough sometimes, depending on your pitching. And then Clemson had a great game in the first game of the Boston College series. I say it's a great game. Ended up great. 16-12. A lot of runs scored in that game for sure. Second game, Clemson won 9-3. In the third game, they won 7-2. So we're going to kind of give you our thoughts from this series, kind of some of the things we saw, and kind of give you just a little summary of what happened over the weekend. First of all, Clemson need this badly. Okay, this is a sweep that against a pretty good Boston College team. They're good hitters. They're scrappy at the plate. Their pitching is not the elite, but it's good enough, so they shouldn't have given up quite as many runs as they did. It was a crazy weekend. Friday night was absolutely insane. Great comeback from Clemson. If I'm not mistaken, Clemson was down 10-6 in this Friday night game and scored 10 unanswered runs until I think Boston College maybe had a couple near the end, something like that. And I didn't get to see a lot of the second game or the first game of the doubleheader on Saturday. I was gone. I was out of town. So I didn't get to see a lot of that game, but I did get to see about an inning. While I was eating, I put the game up on my phone, so that was kind of cool. And then the Sunday game, of course, Clemson came in and took care of business. Nick Hoffman, we'll talk about him a little bit here later, but got to win 7-2. So, Corey, kind of give us your thoughts from the weekend, kind of some things you saw, and we'll dive into this, see if we can get Clemson fans some knowledge about this series.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was kind of they had a little bit of everything throughout the entire weekend. You had the shootout on Friday night, which nobody really anticipated. Boston College threw a pretty high profile arm against them, and they jumped up on them early, and then Clemson answered back with the runs. And I remember you and I were talking, and then bam, there goes the lead. But they did that, and a lot of guys stepped up throughout the weekend. The pitching rotation was completely different than how it had been all year. You're going on the road, but some guys stepped up and they found a way. They put together some runs and in some key situations. So.
Sure, no doubt about it. And for those that don't know, for the Clemson fans out there that don't know, we had an interesting pitching situation. As you mentioned, we had a lot of guys hurt. Sharp was hurt. Okay, Sharp's been your Friday night guy most of the year until he got hurt. Anglin was your Friday night guy last week, and he was hurt, so he was unavailable. Carter Raffield is kind of one of your midweek starters who was a potential weekend starter if need be. He was injured. Clark was also injured. I didn't find out Matt Clark was injured until during the weekend game. Me and you, I believe, were calling for Clark to be put into the game, into the Friday night's game. Didn't realize he was unavailable. He was there with the team, but I think he had some arm soreness or something like that. So he was not available. And those are some of your biggest arms that you've had that have been available, and they were just not there. So this was going to be a weird weekend anyways going in, and Clemson just found a way to make it happen. Guys stepped up to the plate, as you mentioned. So that was really good to see. It's funny. We mentioned last week all the guys that Virginia Tech, I believe it was, left on base. We talked about they left like 31 runners on base or something like that. You know what? You know how many runners Clemson left on base this weekend? I looked it up. 36 runners on base. That's a lot of runners on base, especially when they're scoring as many runs as they did.
Yeah.
They were left a lot of runs there on the table. That's a ton of guys that is left in the base path. And one of the coolest stat I thought from the weekend, besides the fact that Clemson scored 32 runs in 3 games. Okay, Clemson hasn't even come close to doing that this year. That was fantastic, amazing. It's what we like to see. Any idea how many home runs they had this weekend, Corey?
Off the top of my head, did they? I think they just banged a bunch of balls off the wall, right?
That's what it seemed like. Parker had one. Parker started pretty much with that one. He was a line drive shot. Thought it had no chance of going out. I thought it was a line drive to double probably to left field. Got over the wall. That's the only home run they had all week, which is incredible to score that many runs and only have one home run, especially with Monty Lee's approach, which obviously we have, I have picked apart, especially this year. It was so good to see them just make contact. Okay. I always like to say you just make contact, make the outfield or the defense in general, make a play. The home runs will come as long as you're making good, solid contact. And that's what Clemson did this weekend. And that got them more runs than they've ever dreamed of. Okay. So I'm hoping this strategy or maybe just the good plate approach or whatever it may be, seeing balls better, whatever. We need that to continue in a big way for Clemson baseball.
Yeah, and I felt like that's interesting you bring that up. Like I felt like their approach at the plate was more driving the ball rather than trying to launch the ball out of the yard. Like I feel like there were a lot more aggressive swings rather than trying to elevate everything. So that was good to see. I feel like they were in really good counts to hit all the time, and especially like you get in 2-0, 2-1 counts, and you know what's coming. You have a pretty good idea of what's coming. You're going to do some damage, and that's what they did.
Yeah, without a doubt. It was good to see. We've been begging to be able to talk some good things about Clemson baseball. We got a little bit of taste of that with the Virginia Tech series win last week, big time. With the Boston College sweep this weekend. So it was very good to see for Clemson. It's what we wanted to see from the beginning. We need to get that pitching on track. We talked about that. We thought that was going to kind of carry the team. That has not been the case really so far. I don't care how they win as long as they get the job done. It doesn't really matter to me. But hopefully that pitching comes around, and then Clemson is a real monster heading into the latter part of the season. So I'm hoping that's kind of how we get there. Hey, listen, Tiger fans, if you like this segment, make sure you click on the like button, make sure you share this, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. All those things. We want to give all the Tiger fans out there access to some of the best Clemson baseball content around, and that's exactly what we're giving you here. So listen, we want you to be involved. We want you to comment. We'll try to get with you on Facebook or on YouTube. We'll try to respond to your comments if you have any. But we're going to kind of take it, with these clips here going forward for a little while and kind of see how that works out as opposed to the live show. But we appreciate you joining us for this clip, and make sure you join us next time as we slide into home.